air.
As long as you got love.
What's on your mind?
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?
Whoa! Don't ever stop. Whatever you're doing, don't ever stop. That's what I have to say. Now watch me get in trouble. How you doing this morning? Hey, I'm Ann Eller. It's time for the I Love Ann show. It's time for a little coffee talk, iced tea talk, whatever type of talk you want. No, this isn't a TED Talk. It's just talk, and it's me, Ann Eller, this morning, right here live from my bomb shelter in Greenwood, South Carolina. How you doing? I am excited to be here. It is going to be a warm one today. Can you believe we're going to be up in the 70s today? How about that? That is pretty darn cool. Of course, that means the mushrooms out in my backyard are growing, and this is not a good thing when we talk about Benny's digestion, which we will not. Anyways, it's 61 degrees out there right now. Feels like 61, and we are headed for a high today of 71, low tonight of 61. Areas of dense morning fog out there, so be careful if you're out there driving. And then tonight we are looking for showers this evening, becoming a steady rain overnight, low of 61. Chance of rain is 70%. On Saturday, we are looking for a high of 70 degrees. Rain showers in the morning with thunderstorms developing in the afternoon. Can you believe thunderstorms? This is January. I think we need to call... You know, I am reminded... Well, let me finish this thought, then I'll go on to this other thought that's nagging in my brain. High near 70. Chance of rain is 90% during the day. Saturday night looks like we drop down to overcast skies and low of 43. Sunday is a high of 52. Low of 27, and no real chance of any rain. So, well, let me see. Maybe I made a mistake. No, high of 52. Excuse me. High of 52. And then a low Sunday night of 27 degrees. Totally logical, isn't it? You know, sometimes you look at the weather and you go, am I looking at the weather for Greenwood, South Carolina? We have been all over the board. On Monday, again, a high of 50, low of 27. Tuesday, warming up to about 60 with a low of 38. So Monday and Tuesday are going to be cold. You need to know that's below freezing. So if you've got anything that needs to be covered up, pipes, etc., be prepared because we are supposed to have this pretty cold weather. So, we had another shooting in Portland, Washington, and Portland, Oregon? Portland, out there on the West Coast. Anyways, they had another shooting over there. And, of course, we've seen a lot of activity out of that city, Portland, and I guess it would not be uncommon that this type of thing had happened after Minneapolis. They keep this whole thing is I am reminded of the fact that we are now in the 9th day of January, and we have gone from capturing Maduro from Venezuela, taking over Venezuela, seizing an oil tanker or two, I understand. We now have had, and then on the national level, we have Minneapolis, the ICE shooting. Now we've had another shooting in Portland. And this is just day 9 of January 2026. What do you think, folks, is going to happen this year? I'm going to tell you the truth. I think this is going to be a wild ride all year long. And I was hopeful. I was actually hopeful that since President Trump had been president for a year and that he had done some good things. Maybe not everything to everybody's liking, but he had done some good things, that maybe things would start to calm down. But that is not the case. This fraud case out there in Minneapolis is now affecting, with the child care, is now affecting everyone because the federal government has now paused all funding in child care. Isn't this amazing? So in South Carolina, no child cares will be being funded at this point that get funding from the federal government, nor will Florida, California, New Mexico, wherever. None of this will happen. They did not yesterday. I haven't seen anything this morning. I also haven't looked, but I don't know if they're saying how long this will be in effect or not. But that is something that could have very dire straits on all aspects of our country. And of course, when we look at South Carolina, nobody would want to see that this funding has been held up. Now, my only thing is I don't know whether they get funding monthly, quarterly, how the funding is going. And on top of that, I guess, and I mean, I don't know this, they are probably looking for some verification, and I don't know how long the verification will take, and will they do it state by state? We just don't know. So I think there is a lot to look at under this, but this is not a good thing. But these are the consequences when things get out of whack the way they have, and so I'm I'm bothered by it. I mean, we have to get this fraud out of it. But unfortunately, I think a large part of it is because our government is so big and there is no real oversight. We talk about oversight. We talk about oversight, whether it's in our local government, our city government, our county government, state government, and of course the federal government. And really, do we have oversight when it comes to the bigger something gets, the harder it is to have oversight. So I guess this is just a way it's going to be until they can find out. But this is, I'm sure, billions of dollars, and this comes down to food, lunches, breakfast, this type of thing. I'm not sure all the things that it covers, but it's a lot. So I just wanted to mention these are the consequences of this, and I think it's great that we are getting to the root of this. Here we are, $37 trillion in debt, and then we find out that this type of money has been being just taken away. Just like I heard on this radio station that I know about, WCRS Radio, about cases where millions of dollars are leaving our country in suitcases. I don't know if it's every day, but on a regular basis. I didn't know. And I'm going to pass this on because it may be something you need to know. Did you know that if you take more than $10,000 cash out of the country, you need to declare it? Well, do you know this has been being done for years? And I guess you have to declare it, I don't know, to TSA. I don't really have all the details because, like I said, I was listening to this John Solomon last night on Lars Larson talking about millions of dollars going out in suitcases. And that it wasn't just Somalis, but they were talking about that. So I I find this very, very, very frightening. And they just haven't bothered. They just haven't bothered to, let's see if I can find that article. They just haven't bothered to do anything about it. I have $2 million in my suitcase here. Okay, thanks for telling us. When did this start? When did this start? I just don't know. So, let's see if I can find it here. It's Just the News is his site, and they were talking about this. But he says this has been going on for quite a while. He does a lot of very deep investigative work, and for an ATM. Here we go. This is the article I was looking for. This one's for an ATM. Oh, where did it go? Somali cash exodus from Minneapolis exponentially larger than other U.S. major airports. Officials say the movement of cash out of Minnesota was substantially abnormal and should have raised red flags during the Biden administration. The cash moved overseas in luggage. I just find this amazing. By Somali carriers from the Minneapolis airport was 10 to 100 times larger than the total foreign exodus of money at other larger American airports during the last 2 years, officials tell Just the News. So even officials knew that this was happening, and they didn't do anything about it. Homeland Security Department officials say the statistics they have gathered in recent weeks show the movement of cash out of Minnesota was substantially abnormal and should have raised red flags during the Biden administration, long before the Trump administration began investigating it as part of a major fraud scheme that stole billions from taxpayers in the state. Oh, okay. Just the News reported Tuesday that the Transportation Security Administration detected and flagged nearly $700 million in cash moved in luggage out of the Minneapolis airport by Somali couriers in 2024 and 25 alone, a stunning total that averaged nearly $1 million a day. Heck! Why knock over a bank? Right? I mean, just meet these people at the airport. Yeah, there you go. I'm just talking crazy. But anyways, some of the cash moved to Amsterdam and then to Dubai, a route that has garnered concern in recent days by intelligence agents and federal criminal investigators. It was like a cash ATM draining American dollars and moving them overseas, and nobody in the Biden administration seemed to think anything of it. One official with direct knowledge told Just the News, speaking, of course, on conditions of anonymity. These couriers were openly flaunting what they're doing by legally declaring the cash they were taking out. So if you say I'm taking a couple of $1 million out, it's all okay. Minneapolis travelers alone, had $342 million in their luggage in 2024 and $349 million in 2025, and the totals nationwide are likely to be much higher, the officials told Just the News. Where have we been? People asleep at the switch? You know, if you and I, they want to regulate how much cash we can have on hand, how much is in their bank accounts, where our cash comes from. And I mean, we're talking about things. Oh, okay. I'll have to call you back. We have all these things happening, and yet we have nothing that we can do as regular humans. If the IRS thinks that you're doing something, well, then you better just hold on. But here they've been taking money out of the country like this, and it's just like, yeah, well, they just were taking a little cash out of here, that's all. So I have no idea. It says the flow And this has continued into 2025. So this is under President Trump's watch, too, because now we're in 26. So the flow of Somali couriers cash out of Minneapolis was 99% larger than the foreign cash detected or declared in 2025, moving in luggage from the airports of Dallas, Fort Worth, Atlanta, or John F. Kennedy International in New York City. And it was 90% larger than the amounts that left Seattle, a major hub for Asian travelers. So, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. It goes on and talks about a lot more. But I just thought you might be interested to know that not only is there a lot of fraud, but the money's leaving the country in suitcases, and nobody cares about it. I jest in this story because it is, to me, so unbelievable. As much as they try to crack down on all of us here in the United States living within the confines of the United States. But if you want to take money out of the country, oh well. Here they have been cracking down. You know, one of the reasons, or a lot of reasons, why we have illegals, foreigners working in our country is to send money back. And I think that they actually cracked down on how money could be sent back through the banks and everything. Oh, that's why they decided they needed cash. I don't understand on the Somalis. I was speaking on that, basically having to do with the Hispanics sending money back to Mexico and everything. So, this is a story that definitely needs more following. This is a story that, in conjunction with the fraud that has been brought up in Minneapolis, certainly is going to be one that we all are going to watch. And now that they have put a hold on any funding to all 50 states, now everybody is paying a price because of the bad actors. Of course, if you were listening Tuesday afternoon with Senator Billy Garrett, he said one of the things that we needed to get to the bottom of in our state is some of the fraud that is going on in our state when it comes to federal or state money. So I guess it is not surprising that if it's in one place, it's not in other places. Maybe not as bad as what we have seen in some of our blue states, our Democratic states, with Minneapolis being at the top of the heap right now. But, you know, that takes a lot of collusion to make that come together from other members in your government. So, again, I question, should we have government? Well, and we need government. We do need it for some things. But for a lot of things, it kind of is making you question. It makes you question, doesn't it? So, anyways, I'm Ann Eller right here with you this morning. Love your input. What do you think about some of these topics here? 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Were you appalled to hear about any of this, or are you just saying, Ann, why do you even bother talking about it? It's just the way it is. Well, someday we are going to have to get a hold of how we are dealing with things in our country if we are to succeed. I don't care how good X, Y, and Z is. If you're hemorrhaging out the back door, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You will never get ahead, nor will you be able to reduce the debt. And then, of course, it is our money. Well, I constantly talk about this because so many times we think, well, it's the government, so it really doesn't have to do with us. Well, yes, it does. So that's one topic out there. Of interest, I'm sure, to a lot of people will be the fact that the House last night passed Obamacare subsidies, defying GOP leaders and putting pressure on the Senate. This is, I think it's for 3 years. I mean, my feeling about this was if we wanted to do something for a year, maybe, but not for 3 years, because what does 3 years do? It puts it into another administration. And I think, of course, the Democrats' hope runs eternal that they will be able to do something. But it also takes the pressure off of our legislators to come up with however they're going to do it. So the House of Representatives passed a bill Thursday extending Obamacare subsidies for 3 years, upping the pressure on Senate Republicans to reconsider the legislators just months after Democrats forced a government shutdown over the issue. The House voted 230 to 196 to approve tens of billions of dollars in the Affordable Care Act tax credits, with more than a dozen Republicans crossing lines to join every Democrat. What do you think about that? I think it's not surprising, but I think that this is way across the lines, and I am disappointed that they looked at a 3-year mark, thinking, I guess, that all of us are stupid. Well, they'll take care of it before then. No, they won't. Excuse me. They won't take care of it before then, and that is the problem. And then, like I said, we'll be headed towards a new administration, whether they take back the presidency, whether they take over the House or the Senate. But this is a bad thing, because these are not the regular subsidies. These are the other subsidies, the additional, what were they called, the COVID subsidies. So by doing this, if it should get through the Senate, and I don't know whether it will, the Senate is supposed to be working on their own bill. You know, last year I didn't think I was good with some of the things in our budget because I didn't think they were going to go through. And then when our House and Senate had their conference committee, that's when they found out they had an extra $1 billion. So what did they do? They voted themselves increases. Not voted, they just put it in the budget. And this was a conference committee. So I have no what shall we say, hope that if something like this passes, that we will ever get out of this. I think what is important was to do something to make it through and then put the pressure on our legislators to have to complete this. I thought with the pressure that's on the budget to have to be resolved by the end of January, that we would probably get somewhere on this and that they would have to do something about it. But with this vote, this is not real promising. Let's see. Roughly 22 million Americans are expected to have higher health care premiums this year as a result of the COVID subsidies going away. At least 9 House Republicans had crossed party lines to advance the bill Wednesday, and at least 17 GOP lawmakers voted for its final passage. But the House measure is unlikely to be considered in the Senate, though a bipartisan group of lawmakers have been debating a deal on an alternative bill that would extend the Obama credits for just 2 years with some cost-reducing provisos. I don't see that, folks. I think if you got a year, then that puts the emphasis on these legislators to get together and come up with a real plan. So they have got that done in the House. What they do in the Senate, I'm not really sure. Supposedly they've got something that they're working on. We'll have to see how this works out. Again, they were supposed to have the budget done by the end of January because they did end up extending that so they could get it done. So we've got the fraud going on. We've got fraud going on in Minneapolis. We've got child care subsidies being stopped until they get some verification on things. And then we have now this. President Trump has his plate very, very, very full. Very, very full. That is for sure. So we'll have to see how this works out. They also voted to not allow President Trump, was that the Senate or the House? I'm not sure, to not allow him to have any more ability to do any more, what should we say, warlike activities in Venezuela. Iran is on fire. They've got a lot going on over there. A lot of the people are rising up, seeing that this might be an opportunity. So we'll see where that goes. So, welcome 2026. Totally out of control as far as I'm concerned. It just seems like we have too much going on. Oh, and then, of course, there's Greenland. This is all on the national and international. We have Greenland. The president is saying we need Greenland. Now he's made a case that if we're not going to have it, then the European Union needs to step up and do something about it because it is strategic. And the more you hear about the strategicness of Greenland, the more I will say that they are right. I thought it was real interesting. The other day they were having a discussion. I guess we can't have 51 states because they were talking about how they would add Greenland in there. And one state might have to go because I guess they don't think we can put more than 50 stars, or we'd have to redesign the flag. I don't know. But anyways, they were talking about letting New Mexico go back to Mexico. Don't you just yearn for days where you just looked at the news and went, nothing's happening? But then what would I talk about? That's right. What would I talk about? Well, what I am going to talk about is, and today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. Today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So it is a day to do something for our law enforcement, and at the very least, appreciate the fact that they are there every day, day in and day out, helping our communities in any of a number of ways. I just think sometimes we take them for so much granted. When we need them, we want them there. But other than that, we just think, what do we need law enforcement for? What do we need law enforcement for? We need law enforcement to protect, take care, and be there when there is a problem. So I sincerely hope that we will honor them as they should be honored, that we would, any little things that we do, and at the very least, when you see law enforcement out there today and any day, thank them for the fact that when we need help, they come running. We run away from it, they run into it, and we are thankful because of that. Don't you wish criminals could just be a little easier to catch? I mean, that would make things so much better, or just do what they're asked. Do what they're asked. If somebody tells you to get out of the car, get out of the car. If they tell you to stay in the car, stay in the car. Whatever the case is, just follow instructions, and I really think everything would turn out a lot better on a day-by-day basis. If you just look at the amount of drugs and whatnot that are found in our community, if we see all the people that are preyed on by scammers and whatnot, if we didn't have law enforcement to take care of some of these things, what would we do? Who would we look to do this? Vigilantes? I don't know. So I hope that you will realize how important our our law enforcement is in our community. I think in smaller communities like Greenwood and any smaller town across this nation, we realize the importance. It's when we get into the big cities and we get a lot of other noise that we don't realize how important. And yet, in the bigger cities and everything, they're even more necessary to have an arbiter of someone who can say, we're going to do this, we're not doing this, this is the law, this is where we need to go. So while I realize that in Greenwood, I don't believe we have a problem as far as appreciating law enforcement, we need to look not only in our own communities, but across our state and across our nation, and should always say a prayer for those that are willing to put themselves in harm's way to protect you. And I know when you have a problem, you don't hesitate to dial 3 numbers, 911. And when you do, you expect somebody to come running, and they do. And that is a good thing. So let's appreciate the fact that we do have not only a police department, a sheriff's department, and all the ancillary people that work in these offices to make sure that when you have an emergency, that people respond. I think we should also keep in mind that it is our city and our county and our state officials that make sure that they have what they need. Well, except for one thing, and it is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, so I'll try not to bring it up at the jail. I know they've had upgrades. I actually want to go down and see what the upgrades, see what the effect has been. But we still need a better place for our law enforcement to work and to hold people that are in jail. So I still think that although they put money in the 2024 capital sales tax for a study and everything, I don't think it really takes a study to realize that we need things done to the jail. So I will just bring that up. I have not forgotten about it. It's just on the back burner right now. But when we talk about law enforcement, not only for the safety of law enforcement, but for the safety of those that are incarcerated, we need a proper jail, and that is something that needs to be addressed. And I certainly hope the county, in their strategic plan that they are putting together for the next 25 years, will put that near the top of the list, not near the bottom of the list, because that really is a county responsibility. That is, the sheriff does not own the jail. He is a caretaker of the jail, but it is the county's responsibility to make sure that we have a proper facility that is safe for both law enforcement to work in and for those that have been incarcerated, whether they are waiting, whether they are serving their sentence. But we need a better jail, and that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. So that's a little bit about what I wanted to say, but I wanted to say to each and every of our law enforcement, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being there. Thank you for having the sense to analyze a situation and make good decisions. So without you, we would have lawlessness. We would have a lot worse situation. And even with law enforcement, we still have situations which can become very frightening, and that's why we need them on the job every day. So, there you go. Thank you for all that you do for our community. It is important to have them. So, if you see a law enforcement today, if you want to do something nice for them, we should not do it just on today, but any day. But today is an important day to say thank you when you see law enforcement out there. And we need to teach our children the importance of law enforcement. One of the things that I think T.J. Shadone has done well for our community is community policing, trying to get children to understand the importance, trying to be available. And in fact, he is getting ready to have some community information series coming up. I think it starts January 22nd, maybe. I'd have to go back and look it up, but it's coming up. I'll talk about it again, where he wants each one of the wards in our community to come out and hear what he has to say, but he wants to hear what you have to say. He wants to be able to understand what issues the different wards have. So please take the opportunity to go to these meetings and find out more about it, about your community, how you can help, how they can help us. It's a win-win situation. I think, is it the 22nd? I think it's the 22nd, but I will double check that, and it is for this ward right over here, but we'll get more information on that later. So anyways, that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we talk about. Article from the SC Daily Gazette. South Carolina measles outbreak worse in the country as cases exceed 200 cases. You know, this is a travesty right here. Here we had a situation where measles was pretty much eradicated, which you can say what you want about vaccinations and everything. But without vaccinations, these are the type of things that we have. Growing measles. 200 cases in the, let's see, as the worst in the country as cases exceed 200. South Carolina has the worst. South Carolina's measles outbreak is among the worst in the country as the number of cases in the upstate continues. This is in the upstate now. Continues to rise with no end in sight, health officials said Wednesday. As of Tuesday, 211 people in the state were diagnosed with the highly contagious virus, according to the state health department. That's more than any other state but Texas, which reported more than 800 cases in 2025, according to the Texas Health Agency. 4 of the cases in South Carolina required hospital stays, said the state. Linda Bell, she did not disclose any more information nor on those people of their conditions, citing patient privacy concerns. South Carolina outbreak has begun in spread in neighboring states as well. 4 North Carolina children who visited Spartanburg County testing positive for the disease, according to the neighboring health department. It's clear the virus is circulating in the community. That's in Spartanburg. Linda Bell told reporters on Wednesday, the question is who in the community, who is susceptible, and who will get infected. The only surefire way to stop the virus from spreading is vaccination, said Linda Bell. She is the chief South Carolina epidemiologist. I just destroyed that word. Of other people infected during the ongoing outbreak, at least 93% were unvaccinated, according to the 93% were unvaccinated, according to the health department. So, the more people we get vaccinated, the faster we can slow the spread of the virus. As of Wednesday, 144 people were in quarantine for exposure to the virus without previous immunity, such as vaccination or previous infection. That included 9 students from 2 Spartanburg schools. Other cases came from exposure at a church, several churches. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the bottom line is that we have measles, and you as parents have to make decisions. Is it worth getting a child vaccinated? You know, if we didn't have all these people coming in from outside and people traveling from the United States to other areas, maybe you wouldn't have a problem. But the very fact that people do travel in and out of our country means that exposure is great. So in my lifetime, we have seen, I had to have the measles. I had to have chicken pox. What else did I have? Oh, the mumps. Yep. All those ones. And today they are pretty well not out there. But if people decide not to vaccinate, the chances for these things to spread is pretty great. So just an FYI as far as that goes, just FYI, you need to know that this is something that is out there. I did want to tell you about West Carolina telephone internet service. Donated $117,000 to support the robotics center over there in Due West. This is just great. I cannot wait. I saw the groundbreaking of the Due West Robotics Center over there, and it is going to be a center not only for Due West, but for all in the area to participate and be part of. And I am excited to see that how they are coming on this. Last summer, we had them on talking about the excitement of what the future holds. But West Carolina has expanded what their reach is by helping with $117,000 to help the development of the team's new STEM Robotics Center, a facility that promises to inspire students and fuel innovation for years to come. So I just wanted to give them a shout out here today. I think that is terrific. And that's what community is all about, doing things for our community. Also, do want to tell you that coming up next Tuesday, that will be the 13th, we are going to have... we're going to be talking about the America 250 Tea Party. The DAR Issaquena chapter is sponsoring a tea party. We're going to be talking about that, not only from the fact that it's a cool event, but also from the standpoint of what it means as far as a tea party. So many people, in fact, until they did the first tea party a couple of years ago, I think, the Issaquena chapter did one. I did not know that Charleston actually had the first tea party. The good news about Charleston being first is we kept the tea. We did not throw it in the harbor like they did in Boston. Those heathens up there in Boston. They just threw the tea away and made the harbor all tea-like. Where in Charleston we said, we're going to need that tea. We better put that aside. So they hid the tea. There's going to be a lot of good things to talk about on that. So I hope you'll tune in for that. That is going to be next Tuesday on Meet Me at the Diner, 5 o'clock. Wednesday on Meet Me at the Diner, we'll be talking with Carrie Hoffman. She is the executive director of president and CEO of the Greenwood Promise, an organization that inspires children, and I am all for anything that inspires children to make them grow and aspire to do amazing things, like go to college or go to technical schools to get some education. So I think that is pretty terrific too. So anything else that I want to talk about here this morning? Let's see, we could go back and just cover a couple of things. Oh, look, there I am, just talking away. Anybody wants to make a comment on Facebook, I'm always excited to see that somebody makes a comment on Facebook like, "Hi, Ann. Good job, Ann," or "What the heck are you talking about, Ann Eller?" I don't care what you say, but just make a comment. It really helps me a lot here to gauge what we're doing. Is it worthwhile? Is it a good thing? And I think it is a good thing. I particularly like it because we are able we are able to get our information out there by it not only being live on Facebook and then there for 30 days, but also for in perpetuity, we put it on our website, which you can then go to our website, WCRS1450am.net, and you can view it at any time. You can share it, you can like it, you can do whatever you with it. But everything that I say is still out there. All right, so what else do we have? Governor McMaster was sued over deployment of South Carolina National Guard to Washington, D.C. Oh, come on. We're not going to talk about that. The Abbeville County Chamber of Commerce to have a Love Chocolate Walk. That is going to be on February 14th, what happens to be on a Saturday this year. It'll be from 12 to 4. It says walk the square, visit local merchants, and enjoy chocolate treats at every stop. Just $10. Just $10. They probably will sell out on that very quickly, so go to the Abbeville Chamber of Commerce website for more information if you'd like to. You do have to sign up for that. And then we've got the Piedmont Spring cooking classes. You know, they say if you get yourself away from just endlessly scrolling, get back to some of the things you enjoyed. One of the things a lot of people have always enjoyed is cooking, drawing, hobbies of all kinds, but get yourself back to doing some of those things. I think that's a great idea. So, well, what are these people? Don't they realize? Oh, I just got a call from Minnesota. I should have taken that call. A call from Minnesota. Yes, somebody says, oh, could be spam. Yeah, right. I should have taken that call. Darn it. I might have had a source giving me information. All right. Anyways, but get back to doing some hobbies and stuff. And cooking, of course, is a great enjoyable hobby, I might say, when it turns out correctly. But they're going to have some classes at Piedmont. Well, actually, they'll be at the Greenwood Russell Technology Center. That's where there actually will be the Piedmont Technical College Workforce Innovation continuing education courses are going to be great at the G. Frank Russell Technology Center. What do they have coming up? Cooking basic desserts. That is on a Saturday, January 24th from 8:30 to 12. Cooking with Love, a couples class, that's on February 13th, which is a Friday evening. Now, that sounds like fun since that's right before Valentine's Day. And Mediterranean and Lighter Fare, that will be March 14th on a Saturday from 8:30 to 12. But check these out. They all are at the G. Frank Russell Technology Center because they have such great kitchens over there to do that. So, but I think finding or rediscovering a love that you have had is a good thing. I think with maybe getting back to doing some cooking, maybe make a New Year's resolution that you'll try to do more healthy meals instead of eating out all the time would be a darn good thing. So I just thought I would mention that again. Rediscovering things that we have enjoyed in the past, I think, is a great thing. All right, so another event coming up January 10th. That is tomorrow from 11 to 12. Pause and Play, Puppies and Yoga. That should be most interesting. That is out at the Humane Center. 60 minutes, gentle yoga class. I think it's just an excuse to play with puppies, but what the heck. Adoptable puppies and dogs will be available. $10 per class. Proceeds do benefit the Humane Society, limited to 20 participants per class. Looks like maybe this is something they're going to continue, but the first one is tomorrow. So that's a few of the things. I did have somebody question about where Well, first off, property taxes are due January 15th. Yesterday, we talked about if you are going to mail it, make sure you take it and have it hand stamped with the postmark of the date, because no longer is the post office guaranteeing that, if you mail it on the 14th or the 15th, then it'll be postmarked that date. That's the bottom line. So if you want to make sure, whether you're mailing something on your taxes, which must be postmarked by the 15th, or whether you have a bill or a summons, something you need to respond to, if it is something that is time sensitive, make sure you walk inside the post office and have them hand stamp it. So there you go. Just want to make sure that you are aware that just because you put it on the mail on the 15th doesn't mean it is going to get postmarked on that date, and then that could cost you more money. So that's next Thursday is the last date. Of course, you can drop them by, but you can also mail it as long as you make sure that it is postmarked by the date, which is the 15th. Take it inside, get them to stamp it for you, and you can also pay online. The Greater Greenwood United Ministry has opened up their community food pantry every Friday from 9 to 11. This is to help with those with food insecurity. They'll give out bags while the food lasts, and you have to have a photo ID. And then this is the thing that I've had several people ask where this is going to be. Thursday, January 22nd. Self is doing their Join Us for Medically Speaking. This is at 5:30 p.m. at the Lander University Josephine B. Abney Cultural Center Auditorium. And that will be on Thursday, January 22nd. Arterial fibrillation, getting back in rhythm. So they will have a couple of their heart specialists there to talk about that. They will have, it's a chamber event along with Lander and Self Regional coming together to do this. This is an excellent program for our community. The more you know, the more you understand, the better able you are to take care of yourself. So, and remember, self-care is the new health care. We can't just depend on our doctors. We need to depend on ourselves too. Whoo, there you go. Those community meetings that I was talking about earlier with Police Chief TJ Shadone. The first one is for Ward 3. It will be Durst Avenue Church of God, which is at 410 East Durst Avenue on January 22nd. And then they will have throughout the spring, they'll be having a meeting a month. We, of course, will bring that to your attention. And just FYI, if you want to go to the meeting, you don't have to be just from Ward 3. So don't let that stop you from going to the meeting if you'd like to go to the meeting. All right. So those are a few of the things that I know about. I always run out of time because I have so many things to talk about. But I did think this is an interesting story. And I don't know if you had heard about this story or not, but it certainly has interesting. It's an interesting story. It's a horrible story. So I don't know if I should use it to close with, but what the heck. All right. This story comes to us from Las Vegas. And an adult film star who beheaded and killed her ex-husband. This is what I'm talking about. Beheaded her husband, ex-husband. Will serve at least 28 years in prison, a judge ruled last Thursday. In November, following a 2-week trial, a jury convicted Devin Michaels, 47, of first-degree murder with a deadly weapon for the death of 46-year-old Jonathan Willett. Michaels killed Jonathan Willett inside his Henderson home on the night of August 6, 2023, beating him with a stick and then decapitating him. Michaels, who was last worked as a realtor, who also used the name Nikki Fairchild and Tracy Tavares, and who was an adult film star. On Thursday, Senator sentenced her to 28 years to life. I cannot deliver what the family is hoping for, said the sentence from the judge. Police found Jonathan Willett deceased with chemicals poured over his body. Detectives suspect Michaels threw his head in the trash in her Northwest Valley neighborhood, but the police never recovered it. This is horrible. I mean, I can't believe... Just when you think you know everything that's going on, something defeats you again. During the trial, prosecutors played a video of Michaels telling police she was massaging Jonathan Willett in his bedroom when she hit him with an item she described as a candlestick-like. Michaels married Jonathan Willett in 2012, but divorced him in 2018. Michaels later married Jonathan Willett's son, which was not her child, but a son that he had had. She described both the marriages of convenience, according to testimony. Following Jonathan Willett's murder, his father and stepmother took custody of his two children. The grandparents had never met their grandchildren and never met Michaels. We cannot bring Jonathan back, said Jonathan Willett's stepmother. God has gained an angel in heaven. We believe he is watching over us and the girls. Unbelievable story. So she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. As part of the deal, she would be eligible for parole in 15 years in prison. She tried to revoke her plea, but anyways, they came down to she had made that, and they accepted it, and they didn't let her recant it. So I just thought that might be a story that'd give you something to think about. Decapitated, and they never found the head, and she was an porn film star. Weird. Just plain weird. That is the weirdest story I have read in a long time, and I read a lot of them. Anyways, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. It's Friday. I hope I have been just a wee tad bit entertaining here. I hope I've given you some information to think about. And I hope you'll tune in tomorrow morning when we'll be doing Trash to Treasures along a country road. And I look forward to that show tomorrow. Don't know what I'm going to play, so don't ask me. You'll just have to tune in at 9:30 to 12:30 right here on WCRS Radio. Remember, today is National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. If you can do something for our law enforcement, at the very least you can say, thank you, we appreciate you, and we do. Have a great day. That is going to conclude today's version of the I Love Ann Show, right here with me, Ann Eller. Have a good one, everybody. Let's take it away right here on WCRS. Bye-bye, everybody. Oh, come on now. Don't you want to play for me here this morning? All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
The phones are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop.
You're on the air.
As long as you've got love.
What's on your mind?
Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop.
What do you think?